So, the very clever out there and the well-informed might notice that I'm not here. No, it's Paul from Magpie 24/7 on toonTALK, the weekly podcast from Magpie 24/7. For this week and for next week, Ian is away with work. He's got something on, so yours truly is stepping into the breach. We've got this one today, which is going to be a bit of a therapy session, no doubt about it. And then the next week we've actually got an interview hopefully lined up with War Flags. Now, after all the effort they put in today for the display prior to the Sunderland game, over 400 hours went into that display. It was absolutely and utterly magnificent, and it's a shame that the players couldn't replicate the effort that they put in and the fans put in in the build up to today's game. However, they're going to come on, talk about displays, maybe future plans, the best, the worst, inspirations, fundraising, the hours that go into it, who plans them, who plans the displays, how do they come with the messages that they've got. I mean, today was absolutely fantastic, I thought, on point as per, and the difference that it makes to atmospheres and build up to games as well. So that is on the next episode of toonTALK next Monday at around about 5 o'clock. That's UK time, because I know a lot of people now are watching from all over the place. Right, so obviously, it's been, after the previous week, and I was saying I was on such a high, feeling good, feeling positive, feeling optimistic. This week has been a total and utter fucking car crash. It's been terrible. It's not been the greatest, has it? It really hasn't. It is lucky that we are loyal and we are passionate Newcastle United supporters, because at any other club, given the goings on, even in the past week, it would have led to crisis. It would have led for calls for mass protests and all sorts of stuff. As it turns out, it just fucking kills. It kills, it hurts, it stings. But let's get into it. Let's get into the therapy session ahead. And we're going to start. I've actually got some of our opinions. This is going to look a bit crazy, but these were recorded before a ball was kicked. The day before a ball was kicked in the derby. Our thoughts, feelings, and comments about the derby game before a ball was kicked. So I'm going to pass over to I'm on there as well, but the rest of the team also talking about the Tyne Weir derby ahead of kick-off. I'm going to subtitle that.
This is Ian, and it is Derby Day indeed. Derby Day at St. James's Park. 12 o'clock kickoff, which I don't necessarily like for a Derby Day, but at the end of the day, the game itself is all that matters. And to be honest, there's a lot of talking points when it comes to the lineup. No Tonali is obviously unfortunate. I would have probably gone with Livramento as well instead of Trippier. But other than that, a big game again for Ramsey to show how he's grown in the side. I think Gordon up top could be exciting. Some big omissions in the Sunderland lineup as well. Yes, Xhaka is starting, but no Ballard. So this should be a game where we just grab Sunderland by the scruff of the neck and not give them any sort of opportunity. The game at the Stadium of Shite was the game with the lowest XG since they started recording that data, I guess, or I think. So this definitely needs to be a better performance. I believe in the lads. I believe in the lineup. I think it's great that Joelinton is starting. I think it's great that Elanga has gotten another chance after his great game in Barcelona. So let's get stuck into this, guys. How away the lads?
So I've supported Newcastle best part of 50 years, and the derby never fails to make us feel physically sick. I was brought up to hate them, so I hate them because they're hateable, because they're shit. Shit strip, shit ground, stupid accent. Love their sisters a little bit too much. Can't stand them. To sum them up, I used to have a neighbour who was a Mackem, and it was in the 6 in a row times. And one afternoon, I think it was the day after they'd beat War one time, we were burying me kid's guinea pig in the back garden. Both me kids are crying, and he comes to the fence in the kit, banging on about them beating her. And then he had the nerve to say that he hadn't worn the kit on purpose. Aye, Mackems, dicks.
Good morning, everyone. Today is Derby Day. It's a very important match for us, especially after midweek's drubbing against Barcelona. We really need this win. The bragging rights need to be ours. I can't say how important this is as a Newcastle fan, especially after the last time we played him and Voltemada decided to score in his own net. I have my son here. He has one thing to say for today's game, which is...
Hurry the lads.
Thank you all.
So it's the big day today. Can't say I'm not nervous, like it's the first derby I've ever been to, being too young to go to the last one at St James's 10 years ago now. But I know all form goes out the window for games like this, but we've just got to hope the lads turn up today and pull through with a little 2-1 win, I think.
Derby day today, open for the 3 points. You know, it's been a testing season in the Premier League, but hopefully we can end with a flourish by beating the Mackems today. We certainly need to hold them one after getting beat in December. Hopefully the game's a bit of spectacle, than the one at the Stadium of Light, because that wasn't for the faint-hearted. I'm going for a 1-0 win, Newcastle. Come on, the Max.
So heading down now to St James's Park. It's a big in. There's no doubt about it. There's no getting away from the gravity. You're coming across the Reddiff Bridge into Newcastle upon Tyne, and there's riot vans, there's police all over, and it's a big match feel. It is their cup final, but I think what we need to remember and what we need to do is to not sort of play the occasion, to play the game. Because if we play the game, we've got better players than what they've got, and ultimately that should show and that should tell by the end of it. So play the game, let the fans soak up the occasion. These are never normally classics, you know, you get the odd 5-1 and stuff like that, but that's the exception and not the rule. Generally the cagey affairs and stuff. So we rode one, we waited a long time for this. The players have let us down on occasion this season, there's any doubt about that. They cannot do today, they cannot do, it's unthinkable. So yeah, let's get down to St James's Park, see what it's like. that is how we all felt prior to a ball being kicked. I was feeling quite confident. Look, they were missing players. Yes, we were missing players, and we'll come to that in a bit, because I do think it played a pretty significant role in the shenanigans that have gone on today. They were missing players. Look, it's for them, it's mission accomplished. You know, as a team freshly promoted from the Championship, their target was to get to 40 points as quickly as possible and to get Premier League safety. It's always difficult making that step up, and they have done that. And yeah, you know, credit to them. As much as it pains me to say it, they've recruited well. They've brought in players who are hungry, ready to prove a point. A lot of them who you'd never heard, and then they've supplemented that with the likes of Jacka, who add that extra quality, no doubt about it. Today's game beforehand, before getting to the stadium, it was spicy outside. It was definitely spicy. There were smoke bombs going off. There were missiles being thrown. There was police escorts. There was riot vans. As soon as I got over the Reddiff Bridge into Newcastle upon Tyne itself, sort of, you know, past the arena, past the Newcastle sign that's there, riot vans greeted you. A large police presence in the city ahead of the game. And, you know, obviously the first derby at St James's Park in so many years. You know, Sunderland have been in the wilderness. They've been all the way down to League One. So there's been that wait. I do think the calendar has missed it, although these games are never ever classics. I was saying that beforehand. I said it in my piece beforehand. They're never classics. It's the odd one that sticks out. You know, 1-0 down, 4-1 up, and 5-1s and stuff like that. Yes, they stick out, but they are the not the norm. You know, they go against the grain, if you will. So I was expecting a bit of a shitty game, a bit of a grainy game, a bit of a battle, a bit of a quagmire, a game of not many chances, and I wanted us to take them, and I thought that we would. I was quite confident beforehand. I actually made a 3-0 prediction. Fuck me, was that bad. Looking back on it, but I was feeling confident. You know, look, after the Barcelona game, which we'll quickly get to in a second, after the Barcelona game, I was expecting a reaction. The reaction did not come. Again, just like with the Barcelona game, we ran out of gas in this game today. There's no doubt about it. That Barcelona game has clearly rattled them more than anything else. But again, look, Barcelona, we'll go to that one. We'll get that one out of the way and get that one boxed off nice and early. Barcelona, 5 times winners. Nobody realistically expected us to go past them in 2 legs. I thought we were fantastic against them at home. More than deserved a victory, to be honest, and it was snatched away at the end. 1-1 draw. You know, 2 minutes go past the stoppage time. They get a spot kick. They convert it, of course. And I felt a little bit gutted, a little bit down. I wanted to take at least some sort of lead into the second leg. It wasn't to be. The second leg, you know, Kyle flew out there. He had a tremendous experience. Positive with the Barcelona fans, the community over there. 10,000 Newcastle United fans acting in the best possible way, representing the country, representing the club, the region, the city, brilliantly well. We've had loads of messages from Barcelona fans and supporters groups, and you know, speaking very, very highly of all Newcastle fans, and maybe not so much about some of the other people that they've had, you know, at Barcelona, you know, this time around. And to be fair, the first half, it was fun. It was end to end. It was not a typical European night. We had mistakes in there, individual mistakes, individual errors, gifting them goals, but we got back into it, only to be pegged back again just before half time. Trippier gives away a spot kick. 3-2 at half time, but I said on my piece prior to prior to the second half kicking off, I'm still quite confident of maybe trying to score another goal, and it's up to us to keep tighter at the back. And if we can, who knows? Can we take them to stoppage? Can we take them to extra time? Can we take them to spot kicks? You never know. Oh, I felt I never knew at half time. As it turned out, it was a complete and utter car crash, because just like in the Sunderland game, we were all right in the first half. There was a game to be had there. We were scoring goals at Barcelona. We scored a goal against Sunderland. Get to half time and it's fucking car crash TV. The shit happens. Now against Barcelona, You give them opportunities. You continue to make stupid mistakes. You continue to give the ball away. You continue to invite them on. If you can't pass between two teammates stood either side of each other, a couple of yards apart, you can't do the basics of football right, they are going to punish you. They may not be the best side in this competition this year, but they are 5 times winners. They are top of their league in Spain. This isn't Karabakh, with the greatest of respect. You know, we're not talking about, you know, Azerbaijan champions. We're talking about Spanish champions. They have the pedigree. They have the know-how. Look, when we were in the championship and playing on Tuesday nights at the likes of Rotherham and Scunthorpe, actually, funnily enough, back when we were playing Scunthorpe, they were playing in the Champions League the exact same night. So that puts it into context. The gap, the gulf, you know, they wouldn't be the team they are now if they had Mike Ashley for, over a decade, would they? You know, you've got to put things into context, and I was keen to stress that over the Barcelona game. Context is key. We've come a long way in a short period of time, but we've got a long more way to go if we're to compete. You know, you can't get to the latter stages of the Champions League with a John Ruddy in, with the greatest of respect. You can't get to the later stages of the Champions League with 3 goalkeepers, 4 goalkeepers, as many goalkeepers as you want named on the bench. You can't do it. You can't get to the latter stages, to the quarters and the semi-finals and finals of competitions like the Champions League, where you take the Murphys of the world, with the greatest of respect. You know? Again, it's all about perspective. It really was, you know. So was I expecting a victory? No. Over 2 legs, one of match, anything can happen, but over 2 legs you would expect that the quality, the extra quality that they have, and the better technical players that they have, you know, the cream would rise to the top, and we'd go out over 2 legs. Was I expecting to be absolutely and utterly humiliated in the second half, in the final 25% of the game? No, and that left a bit of taste in the mouth, because once the game went and it became 4-2, and it just literally quickly just escalated and got worse, and we were helping them, we were gifting them the ball, you know, we were giving them every opportunity to go and rub salt into the wound, and that is what has happened. It finished 7-2, still the Newcastle United fans up there in the heavens, clapping away, applauding the lads. More looking at the entire Champions League journey, I think, you know, it has been a bit of an amazing one. It's earned the club lots of money. We're going to need that this summer. Yeah, not half. But, you know, from journeys to over to Karabakh to Azerbaijan, being unlucky against Marseille, beating PSV, beating also like Benfica, you know, the Union game. We've had some different adventures, different countries, different oppositions. A couple of familiar foes, familiar faces in there. Barcelona again, playing Barcelona 3 times in the season, man. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, you know, we scored a lot of goals. Gordon scored a lot of goals. Yeah, quite a few penalty kicks, obviously. But yeah, what an adventure. It was a shame it ended in the way that it did. But I was still sort of feeling confident. Then I'm seeing the results coming over the weekend. And I'm like, it's the old fucking adage. So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah, that one's been shot in the foot, hasn't it? It really has. Get to today's game. And like I touched upon before, fun and games outside. There's the banter, the noise. There's police helicopters. I think I saw bloody drones, a little aeroplane going over the top. You've got police everywhere. Security-wise, tight as a duck's you know what. And it was just different. It was very, you could tell there was an edge, you could tell there was an anticipation. Police bringing their fans through. I mean, you could probably smell them before you actually seen them, but, you know, bringing their you know, away support through into the stadium. The bus coming, the bus going, the bus getting pelted with all sorts of things, cans I seen. Again, just for the record, nothing to do with all of that. Sitting there with my mate, we're just catching up on about the match, on about our thoughts about the game, and we're just watching all craziness break loose. Northumbrian Police, I said they're quite pleased with how everything went. I did say that there was a few arrests, and yeah, that's a shame. I actually got offered 500 quid for me ticket outside as well. Absolutely crazy. Of course, told them no and pushed them towards the official resale sites for the club. Yeah. No, there was absolutely not a chance of me giving that up for any type of money. I was looking forward to this game a lot before a ball was actually kicked. And then we get into St James's Park, and wow, touched upon war flags earlier on, but what a fucking display. What a sea of black and white, a flag in every single seat, a display, T4 going up, smoke machines were in there. A nicely pointed sign in the Gallagher end as well. Nice little touch. I'm going to ask about that when we speak to them, hopefully next week. And yeah, I was just taken back. We were both saying, me and Kyle, look, this has to be a sort of PSG when we beat them in the Champions League first time round. It has to be that type of atmosphere. We need to pick the lads up. They're going to be feeling down, deflated. And look, there's not many clubs where that, you go get pumped 8-3 on aggregate, 7-2 on the night a couple of days before. You come to your home stadium afterwards. Normally, most other clubs, they would be held to pay. Not at Newcastle United, not at St James's Park. You walk into a cauldron of noise, into colour, into flags, into song. It was absolutely and utterly fantastic. I was taken back. Great atmosphere. Couldn't hear the Sunderland supporters. It's not been a cry because I do think the better team won today. I could not hear the Sunderland supporters, up in the gods as it may be, but I heard other fans singing loud and proud when they've been in the away end. Couldn't hear Sunderland supporters one little fucking bit. The players disappear off. The nerves start to build up at that point. And yeah, it was probably some sort of inner warning mechanism that, shit was going to hit the fan, as it were. And out come the teams. Fantastic. It is what the region has missed. Yes, they're not great experiences to sit through these derby matches ever. But if you come out of it, obviously with a victory, I suppose it's all worth it at the end of the day. But it's good for the region. It's good that we've got the derby back on the calendar. It's one of the first games you look for every single season, isn't it? So, yeah, we start the game like a house on fire. Plenty of energy. Eddie Howe had made changes. A couple of eyebrows raised about Malik Chow not starting. I was worried Nick Pope was going to start, I must admit. So I was quite relieved when Nick Pope wasn't. Trippier, I thought, given what had happened at the new camp, that Livramento would come in. He didn't. He put Botman at the back alongside Byrne and then Lewis Hall. In midfield, we're down on numbers. Even though we had Willick on the bench, he decided to change it a little bit. Play Voldemar as the 10. Play the other two in midfield as a pair. And, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I thought we started off pretty well. Joe Linden, I think he was probably our man of the match. When they do play ratings after I finished here on Finalysis. If you haven't already, please check me out on there. Download the app, and you're going to be able to follow yours truly very, very shortly. And I don't know if you can see, just up there, MVP of Finalysis. Couldn't believe it. Won an award. Never won anything since bloody school, but won an award for that in London a fortnight ago. So very, very nice. Very, very good. But yeah, back to the game and back to the team. Joe Linton, like I say, I thought he was class throughout. He was one of the few who was actually always trying in the game. Ramsey beside him, I think that partnership can work. Didn't work too well in the second half today, but get to that in a little bit. And then again, I think Elanga was in because he scored 2 goals against Barcelona, and you're hoping that once you get 1 or 2, you get on a run, that was the plan, no doubt about it. So he was in on one side, Harvey Barnes on the other side, and up top, Gordon. So starting with a winger up top and 2 strikers. Well, 3 strikers because we had Neve as well on the bench. But we had, our 2 main strikers on the bench once more. And it goes back to poor recruitment, doesn't it? Last summer, poor decisions, poor choices, and not using the budgets that we had responsibly. But anyway, the game starts off, and after 9-10 minutes, we get the goal, a great goal. Voldemar is involved, Anthony Gordon, brilliant. What a start. And I just said to Kyle from there, don't sit back. We don't need to sit back. We need to keep going at it and trying to get a second, because these games are edgy and it will bite us in the arse later on if we do not. And we went through a spell again. As soon as we scored the goal, we seemed to sit back, invite them on, and stop doing the things that were working well on. There was a chance, a possibility for a red card for Sunderland. It wasn't going to be given because the referee is an absolute and utter, absolute tosspot. But again, I don't want to be seen to be thinking I'm putting it onto the referee, because I'm not, because it was all down to us today. It really, really was. So they had a spell in the in the first half, in that sort of middle section, where they were pushing, probing, they were getting helped, decisions going their way, perhaps, and stuff like that, and riding by the seat of the pants. But it wasn't until the end of the first half that we sort of come back into it. The red card aforementioned, I thought could have been a red card, wasn't. It was a yellow card. We'll move on. We never get decisions, do we, at all? So it is what it is. And you get to half time and we've got an advantage, and the first thing I said to Carl was, look, I'm happy, but I've seen this script too many times for Newcastle United this season. How many times have we shot ourselves in the foot? Well, I'll let you in a little secret. 22 points we have lost from winning positions this season. Unfucking acceptable at any club. We cannot afford to keep gifting points away like we are and like we have. And in this game, yet again, look, we all said around us, we have seen the script. I'm worrying that we haven't, scored the second goal. I'm wanting us to come out with high energy, high intensity, to go at them and try and grab that second goal early and kill the game off. Did we? No, because this is Newcastle United, and every single fucking opportunity we get, I don't know what gets said at half time. I don't know if they don't like the smell of somebody's aftershave or something like that in the dressing room, but they come out absolutely asleep. And Sunderland have been fired up and they've been drilled, and you can tell they've literally been whipped at half time, and they come out absolutely stepping it up by several gears, and they are on it. And we, from this moment, do not recover. The entire second half can be summed up. It's a complete and utter clusterfuck. We do not come out of the blocks. Eddie's making changes. We look tired. Looks like we've run out of gas, which was the exact same thing that happened at Barcelona. But I want to stop now. I want to go to St James's Park, to myself, to Kyle, and you can hear our thoughts at half time on us winning at that point. So I'm going to stop there and I'll come back after this.
So, half time, 1-0. It's edgy, it's everything I thought it would be. We started off really, really strongly. I think they've had a little spell in the middle of the game. Yeah, please be aware that vaping and e-cigarettes, right, they're not used. Can't be used. Can't use them. Fresh news, that's breaking news, that. Fucking hell. Yeah, they had a little period in the middle, but by and large, we've been the better team. We've got the goal, we've got our noses ahead. I'm still scratching my head how they have got 11 men on the pitch, given that Alanga was through and he got a yellow for it. But apart from that, happy as can be, I suppose, at half time.
Well, you're winning, aren't you? It's one of them where it's like, it's a derby game, it's tight. Every time they're near the box, it's panic stations from the fans at least. But yeah, it's a game that we've managed to get in front with. Anthony Gunn with a really tidy finish. Alanga had it over the bar. He got snapped before he got a chance to go later in the half. And any time we've had possession, really, we've been kicked, and the referee hasn't reeled it in. So it's typical though to Anthony Taylor being Anthony Taylor. So it's a tight game, but we need to show quality in the second half, because at some point Sunderland are going to stop being defensive. Sunderland are going to come forward, and we need to be ready when they do, because for as defensive as they've been, the outlet has been Brian Brobbery, and Sven Botman's really struggling with him. He's a fucking unit and a half as Brobbery, and for strength and for the physical battles he's really struggling. So I think Dan Burn needs to go over and help him a bit more, because with that outlet and that physical duel being that more advantageous for Brobbery, the little knock-ons in behind with the quick little players, it's going to work for them eventually if we don't nip that in the bud. So big half head, firing towards the Gallagher, got to get the next goal, and hopefully in 45 minutes or whatever time we're celebrating a victory over these fuckers, because it's been a long time coming in this league, mate. Long time coming.
I had air, mate, last time. I mean, it doesn't help that they've been in the Fizzy Pop League, obviously, for all this time, nearly a decade. Look, I will like to mention as well at half time, and this isn't a knock or a slight, I don't like that, but their away support has been shit beyond belief. I was expecting banter, rivalry, chanted from one end to the other. I've not heard an absolute and utter thing. So that's been a bit of a strange one. But yeah, we've got our noses ahead. We're feeling positive, but we are feeling still nervous.
Lessons need to be learned from this season, because the amount of times we've took the lead and we've failed to fucking win the game. Look at Chelsea at home, look at Tottenham at home. Got to learn from those mistakes and fucking go and win this game and win it convincingly.
Yeah. If we're serious about Europe, today has to be no ifs or buts about it. A home win. It has to be 3 points. Only 3 more matches at home this season, mate. So a massive one. We need to start the second half strongly. No excuses. We need to be coming back at full time now, talking about 3 points for Newcastle United.
So that was our, feelings and thoughts at half time. We're hoping for a response, and we're hoping they can just do enough. But honestly, from the moment they come out in the second half, they look like they're absolutely and utterly out of gas. I mean, the fucking prices I've had to pay for petrol today coming up. 142. Fuck me, it was 123 literally a fortnight ago. So it's funny that about running out of fuel and stuff. But they run out of whatever was in the tank, it ran out. And just like Barcelona, you could just see it ebbing away. And Sunderland were sensing it, and we were like, they're going to score. And if they score 1, they're going to get at least 2. And that is exactly, and if we can see it as fans, and it wasn't just myself, it wasn't just Kyle, there was a whole host of people where we're sat in the East Stand, it said exactly the same. You could see it coming an absolute and utter mile off. Sunderland go hunting, pressurising as if their lives depended upon it. Credit to them. I wish we could have shown a little bit of backbone, a little bit of spirit. Eddie's desperately trying to react to things. It's too late. Sunderland get 1. We make changes. It's no different. It's just the same. And we just know, and I said to Kat, we have seen this script, we have seen this movie time and time again. Your Manchester City games, your Liverpool games, your Arsenal games, was it Brentford, time and time again, 7-8 games this season. We have seen this script. Nobody really. Joe Linton maybe. Joe Linton was putting himself about trying to put in tackles. Meanwhile, we've got Joe Willock coming on as a substitute. He should be fresh as a daisy. Not played a great deal of football this season, but poor tired little precious princesses that we've got. He gets the ball and he runs up the wing. Rather than running up the wing, he actually just runs it out. You've got people passing to each other from here to literally the other side of the camera, and they're missing the person. You couldn't believe it. You literally could not believe it. Livramento came on, he had a little bit of a mare, I must admit. I don't know if all these transfer stories is affecting him, or is he thinking about England? I really don't know. He's been a great player for Newcastle United, so I'm not going to criticise him at all, to be honest, but question mark, shall we at least say. Defensively all over the place, and this is a team that looked really good against Chelsea defensively, I felt. And yeah, fuck that, why bother defending? They got 1, they got 2. The script was written as soon as the first one went in. The script was absolutely and utterly written, and we once again, as we've done repeatedly this season, just shoot. I mean, our feet must be shot to bits because we've done it that many times. And all credit to Sunderland. You'll get some Sunderland fan trying to clip down what I'm saying. All credit to Sunderland, because they were the better team over the 90 minutes. We had our moments earlier on in the game, but they were few and far between, and there were nothing in the second half. Substitutions, weird. Even Vista comes on right at the end. He's not had a sniff in ages. He comes on. I don't even think he touched the fucking ball. £55 million. Goodness me. They are loving it up in level 7, and for the first time you can hear them. Only times when they scored, that was it. And taking the piss, that's all they're good for. Look, you can get the victories in the derbies all you want. You'll never be the bigger club. Never will be the bigger club. It's as simple as that. The history, everything else, people don't even know where you are on a fucking map. And if they do, it's, oh, you're near Newcastle. That's it. But look, they get the 3 points. They do the double over us. That will be out on DVD, no doubt about it, in their club shop as I talk right now. There's no doubt about it. But let them go and enjoy it. And now for me, it's just like, but the voice is barely holding out, but it's like, this season can't finish soon enough for me. People will say, there's still a chance of getting Europe, there's still a chance. Yeah, there's a chance. There is. Yeah, there's a chance of an alien invasion, isn't there? There's a chance of all sorts of things. It doesn't mean it's actually going to fucking happen, to be honest, does it? But I'm just so disappointed because we've been so inconsistent this entire fucking season, haven't we? It's been 1 step forward, 2 step back all the time. I've repeatedly stuck up for Eddie, defended him. He gave us the best day of our footballing lives at Wembley a year ago. Never forget it. We'll never be able to repay him for what he's done. But I don't know. Ever since that cup final, it has been a gradual downhill. There's no intensity. The Eddie Howe ball, the aggressive play, it's all gone. It's got worse and worse and worse and worse. We're running out of steam. And talking to Bournemouth fans, it's a striking resemblance to his time at Bournemouth, to where they felt that he overstayed at the end, to how he is at the moment. And it's dividing fans. Some fans want him gone. I put a question up, is this his Root Hullet type moment, suggesting, look, is it time that you fall on your sword, you do the honourable thing, you've done a good job, much better than Hullet actually, but you know, you do the right thing and you say, look, I've took the club as far as I can? Or does your David Hopkinsons of the world need to actually find a backbone and do something about it? Let me know down below in the comments your opinions, your thoughts, how you see Eddie Howe's future. Or is it a bigger problem? Is it financial? Is it the ownership? Is it the management? Is it the lack of, you know, news on infrastructure and the like? But I think the entire takeover and project and everything just seems to have taken a bit of a hit recently. I really, really do. I think it's many problems. It's like lots of little tiny cuts. So it isn't just Eddie Howe. It isn't just the players being tired. It isn't just the schedule. It isn't just injuries. It isn't just David Hopkinson and you know, being here 6 months now. Come Monday when this is released, it will be 6 months. It's not just ownership. It's not just not hearing from Yasir in what, a year or two. It's not just you know, last summer being chaotic. It's not a case of just last summer not having recruitment staff. It's not a case of any one thing. It's a combination of every fucking thing going a little bit wrong and adding up to a bigger problem. I have stuck up for Eddie Howe repeatedly because of what he's done and out of respect for what he's done, and I still respect him tremendously well. But I do think there are huge issues, and I do think that ultimately people need to pay the price, and players need to see that there is consequences for their actions. You know, a post-match press conference, you're hearing Eddie Howe, I'll stick up for the players, I'll protect the players, I'll take all the slack, blah, blah, blah. No, it doesn't work like that. There are players that need to be looking at themselves in the mirror, that really does. And look, we're going to get some players back for the run-in. Will it make a difference? I don't know. Do I really care at this point? I don't. Because I think if we get Europe, we don't really deserve Europe. How can we lose all these games and still get into some sort of European competition? If we would have won today, the Champions League was still on. That's how daft and crazy and batshit crazy this season is. We don't deserve jack shit from this season because we haven't done enough. We haven't been good enough. It would be a cat flap entrance if we get into the Europa Conference League or Europa League this year. Forget Champions League, forget it. That's supposedly the remit, Champions League football all the time. Heading towards 2030 when we're supposed to be competing for honours. It's a mile off. Talking shit talking shit coming out with that. Unless you're going to tell us the nuts and bolts of how we're going to get there, you're chatting shit for just cheap wins and cheap clicks. But what you're doing really is just embarrassing yourself. You're not making any house job any easier. And I do think there comes a question that has to be asked over his future. I think we're at that point now. He is the best manager that we've had in a long time, and what I wanted to avoid was another Bobby Robson situation where you get rid of somebody who was good, talented, got the club, etc., and you bring in somebody else who just doesn't, and it's the wrong appointment. We've made some wrong signings. Last summer. There's no doubt about it. There is a tremendous amount of work that needs to be had, and we need to be making transfers early, making appointments early, making announcements about stadiums and training grounds and sponsorships early. But I've got no confidence that we will do that. I think it will be, as ever, late in the day. We've not got a good slick footballing operation, unfortunately. We really haven't. And it's one we're going to have to go on into detail, I think, on another podcast, on a future podcast with Ian and a couple of the other folks from Magpie 24/7, trying to do a bit of a special maybe towards the end of the season. That, you know, there are problems, not just on the football pitch, not just in the management. Everything. There are issues that need to be addressed and need to be ironed out. And things like the stadium, how many years are we waiting? And we still no further forward, despite concrete dates being given to us time after time after time again. And then they're saying there's still work happening and there's stuff happening on a daily basis. If there's stuff happening on a daily basis, how come there isn't any update that you can give us? Answers on a postcard, there really is. I find David Hopkinson, it's a bit like all fur coat, no knickers. He talks the talk, but so far in 6 months, what has he done? He hasn't walked the walk, that's for certain. He's got an impressive CV, there's no doubt about it. I was impressed when we signed him, Real Madrid links, great commercial work over in the States and whatnot, but he talks a good game. But it's rather embarrassing what he's coming out with. 2030 competing for the Premier League in Europe from this state. How? Don't talk in general terms. How are we going to achieve that with PSR, or as it is now, squad cost ratios going forward? How come we're not looking at revenue? How come we haven't got a training top sponsor? How come we haven't got a training ground sponsor for the current site, for the new site? How come there isn't a sponsor for St James's Park, for maybe Shearers, so on and so forth? How come we're not maximising our revenue potentials? And how come it always seems to be it's the fans that have to pay the bucks, the big bucks, the increased money through the gates and through the turnstiles? It's always the fans that seemingly get shat on. And then today at the end of the match, the players go around applauding who was left in the stadium. I was there, Carl was there, quite a few around us were there. There were ones who left when the second goal went in. Furious, absolutely furious. Kicking off, swearing, shouting. I'm the one who gets done by the stewards, by the way. Again, second time this season, stewards getting a bit of a power trip, having to go at me for swearing and shouting at the players. What do you want me to do? Fucking clap them? But there was some people clapping them back. I couldn't believe it. Kyle was absolutely losing his shit at full time. We said, what you do? We clapped them in Barcelona when we'd lost 7-2, and we're clapping them again when they've just lost the derby by basically, I'm a bit tired. I'm a multi-millionaire living in me mansions and driving around in my sports cars and top chefs and top sports scientists and top doctors and all this sort of thing, chauffeurs, whatnot. And we're clapping them for putting in that performance. I certainly was not. I was sitting there, sat in my seat, just shaking my head as they walked past. I was like, I cannot believe you have put such a gutless performance into the most important game of the season. All you had to do was against a weakened Sunderland side. I know we were a weakened Newcastle United side. We missed Tonali, we missed Bruno, missed the quality. We haven't got the depth as you go into the squad. But I was shaking my head as they went past, and I was like, don't clap me. Don't clap me up, because I'm like, I can't defend the indefensible. Gutted. I was absolutely and utterly gutted. As all the players went round, Sunderland lot still literally hammering it all up. And why wouldn't they? You would do that. If we did that at the Stadium Light, it would be exactly the same. We did that in the Cup when we won there, obviously. So if you dish it out, you've got to be able to expect to take some back. Traipsing out of the ground, a lot of upset people, a lot of people putting a lot of blame on Eddie Howe, it must be said. There were a lot of questions. See, this is the other thing about David Hopkinson. Is he the man? He comes across as a nice man. Ross Wilson comes across as a nice man. Eddie Howe's a nice man. And the players have turned into a bunch of nice men. And nice men finish last. Where's the shithousing? Where's the intensity as our identity? Where's all that gone to? Eddie Howe can say that he still sees it. I'm telling you, I don't. And I followed all over, and I'm up and down for every single home game, no matter if it's 3-4 times in 9 days, whatever it takes. I'm there. I'm supporting. I'm trying to do my bit. But goodness me, that is a million miles away from the best time. And this is the weird thing about it. We have had worse teams plays on paper, but they've played with twice as much effort, which meant that they could get over the lines in games better than what this lot can. This lot, they like certain aspects of the games, but they don't like getting their hands dirty. They don't like putting the tackles in. They don't like the defensive duty side of it. And there's other players who are just farmers falling off a cliff, or they have moments of lapses of concentration. There's players who have overstayed their sell-by date. It's going to be a massive, massive summer, because there is a lot of players who need to be shipped out, and there is a lot of players that need to be brought in, and we've got to get the finance available to be able to facilitate that, and we've got to be not scared of even selling some of the crown jewels if it means bringing in quality replacements. Sunderland put together that team on a shoestring compared to ours. Brentford, ditto. You can look up in the table and there's clubs above us that should not be above us with 12. It's not good enough. It is not good enough, and the buck stops with the manager and the buck stops with the players. They have to accept the responsibility. And not just that, I don't want to see them just say the right things in interviews, because we saw that ahead of Barcelona. We saw that after Barcelona. We heard that before the Sunderland game, and I've heard plenty about it afterwards as well. Actions speak louder than words. If you're determined to get into the Champions League, if you're determined to get into Europa League, if you're determined to get into the Conference League, then fucking show it. Show it on the pitch where it actually matters. Put some tackles in. I told you my voice is giving out. Play like your absolute lives depend upon it. Today, that didn't happen. As you can tell by my voice, I was very, very vocal. And like I say, I got told off. I got told that if I didn't stop swearing at the players, I would be escorted out of the stadium. I said to them, have you watched their performance? Have you been watching me all the way through it? Meanwhile, while I'm talking to these stewards, there's people swearing left, right and centre, going up, kicking advertising hoardings. It's all kicking off round us. But again, yours truly only gets the treatment. So I'm going to stop it there, and I want to put down the full-time thoughts of some of the rest of the team from Magpie 24/7, and you can see what they made of today's absolute and utter clusterfuck of a performance at St James's Park.
Absolutely pathetic display. Genuinely, there are no excuses for this. Yes, we were in the game. Yes, we played a better game than we did at the Stadium of Shite. Yes, we created some chances, but to finish this season with 0 points out of a possible 6 against the promoted Sunderland side, to now become the first side to not win one derby game in 11 tries is genuinely embarrassing. And what is making me even angrier at this moment in time is the fact that I know for a fact that Eddie Howe is not yelling at anyone for this, is not pointing fingers at anyone for this, will most likely be taking all of the blame, whereas the players themselves should feel absolutely fucking ashamed. This was a disaster. This was a genuine disaster. Our season is a write-off now. It's an absolute complete failure. There's no two ways about it anymore. We're out of the Champions League. We're out of all the cups. Yes, we could still finish in Conference League places or Europa League places, but let's be fucking honest here. We do not deserve shit from this season. We don't deserve any sort of European football and every single one of the consequences that comes with that, because the club is run like a fucking mess. How can it be that we have an endless pit of money and we still hide behind excuses like PSR or SCR of whatever? SCR didn't make us spend 200 plus fucking million in the summer on some duds who can't kick a ball right. We have zero creative ideas when a game isn't going exactly like Eddie Howe spelled it out for these bunch of fools. If any sort of opposition show a little bit of character or resilience, then we fold every single time. And now a 0 out of 6 against these embarrassing bunch of players. Yes, they've had an impressive season. Yes, they've already crossed the 40 points mark. But this still is a fucking shit team that is most likely going to fight against relegation next season. And we've given them 6 fucking points. I am genuinely fed up with this. This game has done my absolute head in. I genuinely don't have anything positive to say. Yes, Lewis Hall was brilliant yet again, as he always is. But every single one of these players should be fucking ashamed of themselves after this. Sorry for swearing so much, but oh my god, am I pissed off at this result. We are embarrassing. We genuinely, after the performance we had against Barcelona, to put on this display, the first half wasn't even that bad, but still we let Sunderland create way too much. I wouldn't genuinely be surprised if this game was the highest amount of XG Sunderland created all season. And that's against us, in our own backyard. Again, absolutely embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. The fact that Tino Livramento just completely left Brian Brobby alone. Brian Brobby barged him aside and he didn't even follow him to keep marking him, even though he was fucking 1 meter away from the goal. I genuinely can't believe, I can't deal with this anymore. International break could not have come at a more brilliant time, because I can't deal with these players anymore for at least 2 weeks. Fuck me, am I angry? Jesus Christ, are we shit? And we, even though we are still in the running, do not deserve anything, any sort of European football from this season. We don't deserve anything. Wow. Without Bruno and Tonali in midfield, there is literally nobody who can keep possession, keep calm in this team. Jacob Ramsey had a valiant effort, but even he wasn't that great. Fucking horrendous, horrific, pathetic, embarrassing, all across the board. That's basically my thoughts on the game. Yeah, I mean, I hope Paul is able to make more sense out of this, but yeah, the game's just come and gone for me, so I am too angry to make any sense of this. Way too angry. Just genuinely so disappointed by this group of players. I thought this batch meant more to them.
I'm genuinely fucked off with that result. A loss of 2-1 against Sunderland on a home turf should never have ever been the case. We should have bounced back harder from that loss at Barcelona. But no, we come out first half storming as we did against Barcelona, and then we go and lose by playing shit in the second half. Yet again, this team needs sorting out this summer. We need a striker, we need a goalkeeper. I honestly don't know what else to say.
Wasn't what we were after at all yesterday. It was really disappointing performance. I know I'd said I was nervous going into it, but I didn't think we'd get played off the park like that. I know there's a lot of people calling for Eddie's head after that one, really. But I'm not jumping on that bandwagon just yet. I will keep backing him, but there was a few decisions today, like bringing off the likes of Voldemort. Thought you had a great first half and we should have been given a bit more time, really. Bring on the likes of Vissar with a minute ago, I wasn't too sure about, but can only just move on now. It's a great time to get 2 weeks off for the lads, so let's hope they can pull it together. We'll get a few players back after that break.
Yeah, after yesterday, that's the season gone, which we kind of knew anyway. Nothing to fight for, no Europe to fight for. There's nothing to look forward to now in football in terms until August. I mean, you can watch the World Cup as a neutral. You can watch Brazil and Germany and stuff like that, whatever. Because Because one thing's for sure, that if anything is more pathetic than Newcastle, it'll be the England national side who are going to let us down even more. So yeah, we've just got absolutely nothing to look forward to now until August. I just feel bitterly disappointed and let down by every single person that's involved with Newcastle United Football Club, from the manager to the assistant manager to the coaches to the players to the substitutes, to every single one of them. You've threw games away all season. There's no other way of looking at it. You threw games away all season. But to throw that away against Sunderland, literally the only thing we had left in our season, and we've managed to throw that away as well. I think it's the worst season. I think it's the worst season in my lifetime, and I've seen us get relegated from the Premier League twice. Because with the relegations, I sort of knew they were coming. I knew they were coming. Lack of ambition, lack of investment. Other teams that invested more money and paid more wages, and you accepted it. You said, well, that's us then, you know what I mean? I had 2 great seasons in the Championship. Went to a lot of games in the Championship, loved it. But they build you up, don't they? Say, oh, look, we're competing, we're paying these wages, we're paying these transfer fees, we're going to be competing. And this season has been an absolute horrible disappointment. In every sense of the word. Knocked out of every cup and threw pretty much every fucking game away. And threw Sunderland away. It's unforgivably disgraceful is what it is.
Support is set up. I mean, be honest, player running out of that, you would think you'd run through fire for that. That's what gets me. I cannot understand why too many of them seem to be a bit off.
It's just not the fact that we've lost to Sunderland. I think it's deeper than that. We've lost too many games on the trot, and yet I think they're playing very good football. There's something there, and I love Eddie Howe. So
just being kicked out the ground, I was so upset. I didn't realise we had to leave. It was that kind of game. Look at the fans; they're here trying to enjoy it, and the players are absolutely scared stiff. I think it's a mentality thing, and we're seeing it. This has been the case for so many derbies over the last decade, 15 years. It's just the same old thing over and over again. I don't know what it is about this fixture. That's down to the manager, it's down to the players. Only they can put it right.
Especially in the second half, they came out. We were sloppy, they scored early. It's poor. That's Newcastle season all around, isn't it?
Disappointing, you know. I think it was definitely a game of 2 halves. Obviously it hurts, but hopefully they're hurting as well, and next season they come back and get revenge.
We came a long way. We came from Iceland. We live in a small fishing village, and we're die-hard Newcastle fans. And I've been here 10 times, 9 wins, believe it or not. First loss today, and unfortunately it was...
So, who do you agree with? Who do you agree with? Who are you with? Who do you have a different frame of opinion on? Let me know down below in the comments on that one. And whilst you're on, hit the like button, hit subscribe for Magpie 24/7, and also for our weekly podcast, toonTALK, as well. Appreciate that a great deal. Like I said, normal service with Ian will be resumed very shortly. He is away doing some media work, some training. It's all very exciting. He's going over to Germany. And no doubt he'll bring all the juicy gossip and information and what he's learned with him onto the next episode of toonTALK, which will be back ready. Well, we've not got a game now for a couple of weeks. The poor darlings can rest up. They need a break. Oh, my heart bleeds for them. It really does. I'd love to be on their bloody wage packets. Maybe 1 or 2 could donate some wages from today's to maybe reimburse all the fans who made the trip into the stadium and paid the £1.42.9 per litre of petrol. I must admit, just touch upon some of the players today. Alanga looked shell-shocked for a player who should have been buzzing, scoring 2 against Barcelona at the Nou Camp. Does it get much better? Well, that must have been literally him topping out, because today was absolutely shocking. Couldn't catch a break. Every time he touched the ball, he overhit it, passed it to one of their players. Absolutely and utterly shocking. I don't think the midfield setup worked again. We had Voldemar in there. He's a striker, for fuck's sake. Play him as a striker. Play him as a striker, or don't play him. To me, there's a player in there, but you know, you may have a different opinion. Again, comments down below. Let me know what you think about Voldemar. I don't think he's a midfielder, I'll tell you that for free. Gordon scored a great goal, then went quiet and was shooting left, right and centre. Not really coming off for him. Harvey Barnes, pretty anonymous as well. Even Hall I have raved about. He's a 7 out of 8 player every single time. Today, he had a bit of a mare. Again, I don't know if he's got one eye on the England stuff. I don't know. I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but he had a bad game. But yeah, collectively, we were shite. There's no other way to put it. Congratulations to Sunderland. They get the bragging rights for the season. They've done the double over us. How the fuck, I don't know. There'll always be a smaller club. They'll always be a smaller club. And I'll tell you something, I'd rather be a Geordie, I'd rather be a Newcastle United supporter than a Mackham any day of the week. So stick that where the sun don't shine. I really don't give a shit. I know, again, half this will be clipped up and they'll make it out and stuff, but, you know, I've given Sunderland credit. I've said that they were a better team on the day. I have said that, fans-wise, there wasn't a competition because the Newcastle United fans were all over today. It was a magnificent atmosphere inside St James's Park throughout the game. I think it was played in the right spirit with regards to the fans. No real trouble. A couple of dickheads here and there on either side. That's probably to be expected. The Southern coach might need a bit of work dealing with it and stuff like that, but I thought it was stupid trying to drive the Sunderland coach through a sea of black and white in the first fucking place. Who makes these decisions, you know? Who makes these decisions? As for Newcastle United now, then, you know, we've got to go away. I think we only play one home game next month at St James's Park. I can't fucking wait. 2 in May. And then obviously our remaining 4 games are away. We've got Arsenal, we've got Palace, haven't we, and Forest and the like, Fulham. Look, we could win all of them and still get absolutely fuck all out this season. And to be honest, fuck all is what we deserve out of this season. We haven't put enough in, so we don't deserve to get anything out. Really disappointing season. We've got to come back strong next season. We've got to, as I touched upon before, we've got to be able to get rid of players to be able to make big decisions. So we've got Kieran Trippier, we've got Emil Kraft, we've got Fabian Schär out of contract. Do all of them get new deals? Or if we do, are we repeating the same mistakes? Are they getting a little bit slower every single game, every single week, every single month? Perhaps. Let me know down below in the comments what you think. And then we've got to get really smart with recruitment. I don't want to see Premier League proven. I really, really don't. If we're looking at the likes of Delap and fucking Jackson and the likes, nah, not for me. I'd much rather we go and try and find another Bruno from, you know, the French league or the German league or somewhere like that and take a chance, do our scouting, get to Brazil, look at players who can come, maybe haven't got the name power, but they've got the heart and desire and the want to make a name for themselves. We want hungry players. We don't want players who, you know, think that they're in the big time, who, oh, I'm Champions League player now. Are you? I didn't see much of that in the second half against Barcelona. You know what I mean? I want those young, hungry players. I want more Lewis Halls in our team. We need so many players. We need 4 goalkeepers for a starter at the summer. None of the goalkeepers I'd keep. Ramsdale isn't £20 million worth. Pope has got crisp packets for hands. Gillespie is having an absolute and utter blinder. Picking up easy money. John Ruddy. Champions League squad, John Ruddy. The defence, you know, there's lots of talk about Chow possibly going. Will he, won't he? I don't know. He's a great player who has the odd moment that he does crazy, batshit crazy stuff. Botman, he's injured, he's not injured, he's in, he's out. No level of consistency really so far, which is frustrating because there's a great player there, of course. Lewis Hall's fantastic, whatever. I would sign him up. I'd offer him Matt Target. Matt Target's £100,000 a week deal is up in the summer. Bang some of that on Hall's contract and get him signed down. I know he didn't have a great game today, but he has been a great player for us this season. You've got the likes of Lewis Miley. We need to keep him fit. Free him up with a dead leg. There's big calls down all over because I think Livramento is potentially going to be off. Kraft has got to go. Trippier surely has to go as well. Into midfield, I think midfield needs a little bit of extra work. Willick is wanting first team football. Palace wanting for £15 million. Can we get somebody else in? Young, hungry, keen. A different profile to what we've already got. Maybe more Joe Linton type. And a defensive, a midfield presence, in there. There are the players out there. Look at some of the signings Everton have made and Brentford have made. Even fucking Sunderland making decent signings. Jesus wept. And then into the wide areas, the whole Harvey Barnes debate, Anthony Gordon, will he, won't he, will he go to Liverpool? You know, it's a possibility, I think, to be honest, because they're going to be having a bit of a rebuild as well. And then on the right hand side, Jacob Murphy's still the answer. He got a couple of decent crosses in today, to be fair to him. Alanga, what the fuck's wrong with Alanga? What I said, I'm so desperate for him to get another goal today, desperate for Voltemade to get a goal. It's not working. Asule wants to be the main man. I don't think he's going to get to be the main man at St James's Park. Come on today, really didn't do very much. Scored 2 memorable moments over the season, but a broken clock's right twice a fucking a day, isn't it? Got the toe poker against Liverpool and the worldie against Manchester United. Vissa, what the fuck's happened to Vissa? 55 million quid. Jesus Lord, is there a Saudi club daft enough to take him on at this point? It may come to that, or it may come to he needs pre-season training, I don't know. But whatever the decisions around players, whatever the decisions around managers and so on and so forth, the decisions need to be made decisively early. We need to get our ducks in a line. And look, it's alright for saying, you know, players should go, managers should go. Who would you bring in? If it wasn't Eddie Howe, who would you bring in? Realistically, right back, goalkeeper, centre back, left back, central midfielders, wide attackers, strikers. We need a bit of everything. Looking at it from, you know, some people's perspectives. So who could we bring in if we had a budget, even a couple of 100 million? Who could you bring in? What sort of deals could be achievable? Will we look to more foreign markets, your Brazils, your Frances, your Holland, Germany's, you know, maybe even further afield than that? Is it possible? I think you maybe get better value, but it's rolling the dice. Some have worked, some have not. So it's one of them. And the manager, the most single important thing, because he sets the tone, the tactics, the agenda, the set plays. The set plays again was shite. At one point when Trippier went off, we had about 30 seconds when we had a corner and nobody came running over. Where's the leadership? Leadership group. What a joke. Nobody to take a corner when people were taking corners that weren't the greatest, you know. When did we last score from a direct free kick? Can't remember. Slips my mind. Lots of questions. Decisive decisions. Bold. Whatever it is you're going to go for, make it. If you're going to sign Eddie up for a new contract, do it early. If you're going to bring in another manager, do it early. If we're going to have a big call and bring in a new players, do it early. I know there's the World Cup, but it's an important summer for Newcastle United, because at the moment we are a fucking mess. An absolute mess. We need an update on the project, an update from ownership. How are we achieving what looks like the impossible at the moment with all this 2030? Tell us the nuts and the bolts. Don't just tell us 2030 and go, oh, exit stage left, exit stage right, or whatever. Tell us nuts and bolts. How are we going to achieve the impossible? Because at the moment, I'm looking at you and I'm sort of laughing at some of the stuff that's coming out, because it's not realistic. No, I'm not deluded. Quite a realist person. I'm so confused tonight. So if you can get in the comments and help with your thoughts and feelings on everything from the manager to the players to the senior leadership to the ownership, it's appreciated. Let's get in the debate. Let's start talking about stuff. And I think I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it with some of the highlights from today's game. Now to do with the actual football on the pitch, you understand. Some of the videos that we took from inside of St James's Park. So you'll see the displays, the noise, the songs, the excitement, the anticipation, and so on. So we'll try and leave it on a positive, on a high. And then looking forward to the following week's podcast. I will be back. And back hopefully with War Flags, if I can get that all done and dusted. If not, we'll bring you a one, because it's obviously international break and nobody wants to talk about England, do they? I don't think there'll be a great sort of demand or anything else like that. We've done transfers, so we'll either do a special on about the state of the club, a state of the address as it were, or hopefully if everything's final T's across to Niza dots, it'll be with War Flags, and that'll be a nice one for the international break, so we can still have a little bit of Newcastle United flavour over the international break. And then we've got to get through to the next game and it's over to the place. It's over to the place. Sick of the talk. Sick of the talk from them. The talk. We need to see if they can walk the walk now. They've let us down. They've let us down absolutely big time as far as I'm concerned. But I'm going to leave it there. Put the videos on for inside of St James's Park tonight. Enjoy them. Look, the club's fucking special. No other club in the world. All that we support you even more. 50-odd thousand after getting hubbed 7-2. 50-odd thousand passionate fans packing the place out. Inconsistent result after inconsistent result. Giving breadcrumbs of decent results here and there against Manchester United and Chelsea and stuff, just to keep you sweet and keep your motoring along. So it's a special club. The best fans in the world. Much better than fucking Sunderland. They were better on the football pitch today and they won 2-1. Leave it there for toonTALK. But like I say, subscribe, follow, like. We're on the rest of the social media accounts as well. Also, if you could drop a like to the Magnificent Mags. He's got 2 pages, an old one that was shut down, new one, the Magnificent Mags. Also, Magpie Ultras as well. If you can give those 2 a follow, that'll be great as well. And there's also always Newcastle United. Lots more great content creators out there doing some really, really good stuff. Support everybody. It's important now at the bad times that we have each other's back at the end of the day. That is massive and that is huge. Like I said, I've said a couple of times, I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there now. In the meantime, take care, keep it tuned. It's hard, isn't it? We must do. We could have been born in Mackham at the end of the day, couldn't we? Jesus wept. Yeah, leave it there, take care, keep it tuned, and I will speak to you very, very soon. Speak to you later. So, I thought I'd packed what happened yesterday, and then I get a call off Sky Sports this morning asking us, could I come on and share my thoughts upon what had happened yesterday and the whole, obviously, situation around Eddie Howe. Lots of talk today about the future of Eddie Howe. So, after some persuasion, he said, oh, it's Pete Graves who's on. The sweet talk, just because, like I said, I wanted to move on and wanted to move past it. I wasn't feeling great yesterday because of the result. I have been feeling a little bit under the weather. I get through the game, I get back home, I do the podcast, I finish off, and then they want us to relive one of the most painful moments of the entire season. So I'm like, yeah, go on then. I've got a headache, I'm not feeling particularly great as it is, but I do it. And of course the questions start on Eddie Howe. Now I understand the questions, I understand the noise. Eddie Howe has got a lot of things, basically since the cup final, wrong at Newcastle United. I have maintained, you know, I've been through far worse times as a Newcastle United supporter. So I've maintained the status quo, I've maintained the support. And I do think that as a club, we are better united than divided, of course. But I do think he is getting more and more things wrong. But is he the only one? Is he the only one at Newcastle United at the moment who's getting things wrong? To me, not. The book, you know, it's like death by 1,000 cuts at Newcastle United at the moment. You've got David Hopkinson, and I mentioned him in the interview, coming out and talking about winning Champions League and competing for Champions League by 2030. Not 2040 or 50, 2030. And it just comes across as ludicrous. But there's also the recruitment team, which has had a tremendous run, you know, a tremendous run of bad luck. You know, signing players like Voltemada and Bissett haven't worked so far. But again, they have to be questioned. The medical team, we've had far too many injuries. The squad hasn't been big enough, so I questioned the ownership. Why wasn't he given the tools to be able to do his job? So it's not just Eddie Howe, it's the coaches, it's the medical, it's the doctors, it's management, it's ownership. It is a little bit of everything, and it's all just combining to be a huge, huge issue, a huge problem at the worst possible time, you know. So this is the Sky Sports interview that I did earlier on this morning. The rest was obviously recorded after getting in from the game yesterday. Yeah, I'm a glutton for punishment. But yes, this is the interview. Over to now myself speaking to Tim Sherwood and of course the legend Pete Graves on Sky Sports. In the meantime, keep it tuned, folks.
Appreciate you coming on again, mate. I mean, hurting today, no doubt.
Yeah, physically and mentally, my head's absolutely banging. But yeah, that's the least of the worries, the least of the problems. It was an absolute and utter disastrous day yesterday.
from start to finish. And again, it's another defeat from a winning position. 22 points now we've dropped this season from being in a winning position, which is just absolutely and utterly scandalous. And it's not just on Eddie Howe. It must be said. The players have to take a large share of it. Not just him. David Hopkinson coming out with more, made up stuff than Donald Trump's coming out with. That doesn't help. Ownership not speaking.
He's only
not
just got there, David, though, hasn't he? But to be fair, David Hopkins just arrived.
Six months.
He's making.
6 months.
Yeah, it takes a long time to turn a football club around, though, doesn't it?
No, but the thing is, it wasn't a football club to turn around. It was supposedly we were on the up. We just won a cup. What's he done in 6 months? He's done nothing. He's been to a stack event. I want to hear a little bit more about the nuts and bolts. He comes out with grandeur claims of 2030 and competing for Champions Leagues and stuff. It's not necessary.
So is the fan anger more on what's going on behind the scenes then? Is it? I mean, we were just talking about the summer there. Obviously, Darren Eales is poorly. He goes. We wish him well in his recovery. He's going through treatment for his illness. Paul Mitchell leaves the club. We've seen Amanda Stavelin, Merda Gadushi leave. Now we have David Hopkinson coming into the club, and he's not been there very long. But this summer is key, isn't it? I mean, the big question is, you've always been Eddie in. I mean, Tim's saying here he's got a lot of credit in the bank. You yourself said on the show, I believe, that you would give Eddie Howe your bank card and your PIN number, such as you trusted him. Now, I know everyone's emotional after the Derby Day defeat. Are you still of the mindset that Eddie Howe is the right man to turn the fortunes around at Newcastle United and should be given the time to do that? This summer, I mean, is massive for him, isn't it?
Yeah, it's split. It really is. I mean, I'm still of that camp. I mean, I would trust the man. He delivered the best day of my footballing life. However, yes, I would trust him with my bank card and my PIN number, but I'd probably be checking my mobile app just to make sure he was spending correctly. Look, at the end of the day, he has made errors this season. Voldemort is a striker, mate. Play him as a striker. We've just kept a clean sheet against Chelsea. Play the same defence. It's little things like that. Yes, David Hopkins has made errors. The ownership has made errors. The recruitment team has made errors. We haven't had the backroom staff that we should have had. We've made rash decisions. And a lot of the things that, to be honest, were getting said about Spurs and what, Tim's just said very passionately about Spurs. I feel a lot of it as a Newcastle United supporter. I can feel a sort of connection between the two sort of situations and everything. And now for me this season, it's just a case of getting through it. We've 7 more games, 3 at home, 4 away.
Yeah.
And we just had to get, something yesterday. I mean, even a draw would have been something, but to just gift them. And the thing is, our team is better than Sunderland's team. We've had teams before who's been half as good technically, but they've had twice as much fight and spirit. Yesterday, again, from the second half onwards, the down tools, where were they?
Yeah.
Eddie Howe can't stop them from. Where was the running? Where was the energy?
Yeah.
Where was Joe Willock got the ball with nobody around him and ran the ball out? Literally ran the ball out over the. How can you explain those sort of things? It is not all on Eddie Howe.
Okay.
Eddie Howe has a large proportion of it, but he's not the only reason. Far from.
Okay, so more to worry about in Newcastle than just Eddie Howe, but clearly a lot of work to do. Really appreciate your time coming on today and what is...
Join us Monday for Toon Talk, a Newcastle United podcast from Magpie 24/7.